All right, get ready to have your reality bent a little sideways. We're about to dive into some truths about our universe that honestly sound like they were ripped straight from a sci-fi movie, but nope, they're 100% real. You know that feeling, right? You look up at all those stars and you're just hit with this sense of wonder and a little bit of what is really going on out there. But what if I told you the universe's biggest secrets aren't just amazing, they are fundamentally, deeply, and wonderfully weird? So let's start by breaking a few rules, or, at least the rules that movies have taught us our whole lives. Because when you get down to it, the reality of space is so much stranger than anything Hollywood could dream up. Think about every space movie you've ever seen. A ship blows up, and what do you get? A massive, roaring boom. It's just what we expect. But in the real vacuum of space, the most catastrophic, violent events you can imagine happen in complete and total silence. And here's the super simple reason why. Sound needs stuff to travel through. Air, water, anything with molecules that can vibrate. Space is a vacuum. It's the definition of emptiness. So an explosion could happen right next to your spaceship, and you literally wouldn't hear a thing. Just a blinding flash of light, and then nothing. Eerie, right? And here's another bizarre rule of the vacuum. See, here on Earth, our atmosphere creates this tiny invisible layer of oxidation on pretty much any piece of metal. But up in space, that layer just doesn't form. And the result is this wild phenomenon called cold welding. The atoms on two different pieces of metal, well, they don't know they're supposed to be separate. The moment they touch, they just bond. Instantly. Permanently. This was actually a huge, unexpected problem for the first space missions. Engineers had to completely redesign tools so they wouldn't accidentally weld themselves to the outside of the spaceship. Okay, so the basic rules of existing in space are already pretty strange. But what happens when we find corners of the universe where those rules get pushed to their absolute, unimaginable limits? Forget about rain being water. On the ice giants right here in our own solar system, the conditions are so insane that it literally rains diamonds. And I'm not talking about a little sprinkle. We're talking about trillions of carats of solid diamonds hailing down through the atmosphere, eventually forming a liquid diamond sea around the planet's core. It's just unbelievable. But if you want to talk about sheer mind-crushing density, nothing, and I mean nothing, in the universe beats a neutron star. These are the collapsed cores of massive stars. And if you could somehow scoop up a single teaspoon of one, it would weigh this much: 6 billion tons. It's almost impossible for our brains to even process what that means. Let me put it this way. If you dropped that one little teaspoon of neutron star stuff on Earth, it wouldn't just make a crater. It would punch straight through the entire planet and come out the other side. These things aren't just objects. They're places where the laws of physics as we know them start to completely break down. And speaking of breaking points, let's talk about reality itself. The fabric of space-time isn't just a static background for the universe. It's a real physical thing that can be stretched, warped, and twisted in some truly mind-bending ways. This isn't just theory anymore. It's a proven fact of our universe. The faster you move through space, or the stronger the gravity you're in, the slower time actually passes for you. Astronauts on the International Space Station, for example, age just a tiny fraction of a second slower than us down here on Earth, but it's a real, measurable difference. Now, get near something with immense gravity, like a black hole, and this effect goes into overdrive. You know that incredible scene from the movie Interstellar, where 1 hour for the crew on the water planet was 7 years back on Earth? That wasn't just movie magic. It's based on very real physics. Time itself can literally be stretched out like taffy. Okay, so time is flexible. What about sheer scale? We think of galaxies as being unimaginably huge, right? Well, they're just the bricks in structures that are almost incomprehensibly larger. And this one? This is the biggest thing we've ever found. It's 10 billion light years across. To put that in perspective, light itself, the fastest thing in the universe, would take 10 billion years to get from one side to the other. This thing is so enormous that it actually challenges our understanding of the universe. According to our best models, something this big simply shouldn't have had enough time to form since the Big Bang. And yet, there it is. Which brings us to a really cool idea. The universe isn't some static, unchanging thing.
It is a dynamic, evolving, and often pretty violent place. Galaxies are born, they live their lives, and they die.
And a huge part of that life cycle is, well, galactic cannibalism. Our own Milky Way galaxy is, right now, in the process of eating a smaller galaxy. And looking into the future, we're on a direct collision course with our massive neighbor Andromeda. In about 4.5 billion years, our two galaxies will merge to create one brand new supergalaxy.
So we've talked about galaxies colliding, but what about life way out there, beyond the cozy warmth of a solar system? Could a world actually survive, or maybe even thrive, after being thrown out into the endless, freezing darkness between the stars?
Meet the rogue planets. These are orphaned worlds, kicked out of their home systems and left to wander the cold and dark alone. And what's absolutely astonishing is that scientists estimate there could be more of these lonely planets out there than there are stars in our galaxy. Some of them could even have liquid water oceans, kept warm not by a sun, but by the heat from their own radioactive cores, possibly hiding life in the pitch black.
Okay, for our last section, let's look at a couple of facts that are less about specific crazy places and more about the fundamental and sometimes just plain unsettling nature of everything.
After all the vibrant purples of nebulae, the fiery oranges of dying stars, and the brilliant blues of newborn star clusters, what color do you get when you average it all out? Beige. I'm not kidding. Researchers took the light from hundreds of thousands of galaxies, put it all together, and found that the average color of the universe is a pleasant, creamy beige. They even gave it an official name, cosmic latte. And now, from the comfortably boring to the downright terrifying, this is the Boudet's Void. But its nickname is much better, the Great Nothing. It is a region of space so vast and so profoundly empty that it messes with our understanding of cosmic structure. In an area this big, we'd expect to see thousands of galaxies. Instead, we see about 60. It's a true massive hole in the fabric of the cosmos. But here it is, the single most humbling fact of them all. Everything we've just talked about, every star, every galaxy, every weird phenomenon, every bit of diamond rain and cosmic latte, all of it makes up a mere 5% of the known universe. The other 95%? It's made of dark matter, some invisible scaffolding that holds galaxies together, and dark energy, a mysterious force that's pushing the entire universe apart at an accelerating rate. We know they're there, but we have almost no idea what they actually are. What all this really means is that we are basically strangers in our own universe. We've only just peeked through the keyhole into the room, and the reality we've already found is stranger and more wonderful than we ever could have dreamed. So I'll just leave you with this question. If this is what we found in just 5%, what other impossible truths are still waiting for us, hiding out there in all that cosmic dark?